Welcome back, everyone. Trey Owings here with the final episode of the fall semester. Tonight we will be covering men's and women's basketball, putting a well-known Seahawk in the spotlight, and much, much more. So sit back and enjoy the show because Seahawk Central Sports starts right now. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, tonight's episode begins with some extremely tragic news from the Kansas City area. Around 8 a.m. on Saturday the 1st, Chiefs linebacker Javon Belcher shot and killed his 22-year-old girlfriend Cassandra Perkins at their home. Belcher then proceeded to drive to the team's practice facility at Arrowhead Stadium, where he committed suicide in front of general manager Scott Piola and head coach Romeo Crennel. According to a Kansas City PD spokesperson, Piola and Crennel tried to talk to Belcher, who didn't thank the two men before taking his own life. Although speculation arose of canceling the following Sunday's game against the Panthers, the two teams met and held a moment of silence and remembrance for all victims of domestic violence. Everyone here at Seahawk Central Sports is keeping the Chiefs organization in our prayers. Truly tragic events. But now, let's turn to our varsity sports, where our first stop is men's basketball. Well, folks, we'll start out as smooth sailing turned into a rough couple of weeks for Seahawk hoops. After opening the season with a win at home against a tough UNC Asheville squad, morale was flying high as UNCW went on a 3-game road stretch against the likes of Richmond, Ohio University, and Purdue. Hot shooting by the Spiders and missed shots around the bucket on part of the Seahawks led to a 51-31 Richmond lead at the half, which then turned into a 101-58 beatdown. The 43-point loss was the third worst defeat in UNCW history. Things didn't really improve much for the Seahawks from that point on, as 26 turnovers and 5 different Ohio players scoring double figures led UNCW to an 85-47 defeat at the hands of Ohio University, and their second loss in a row. The last challenge in the 3-game series was arguably the toughest, as UNCW headed back to the Midwest to take on Big Ten power Purdue on Wednesday the 21st. Both teams came into the matchup with a 2-game losing streak, as the Boilermakers came out on top 66-40. UNCW kept up with the Big Ten squad, but after being held to only 4 field goals and an awful 19% shooting percentage in the second half, Purdue blew the game open to stay 3-0 at home. UNCW also had a chance to go 3-0 on their home turf as they hosted the Wilmington portion of the Nations of Coaches Classic. This past weekend, the Wofford Terriers and the Hampton Pirates visited Trask Coliseum for an action-packed Thanksgiving weekend. So let's head on over to our very own Luke Gainey for the story.
Thanks, Trey. Tonight, the Seahawks will be facing off against the Wofford Terriers in the second day of the Wilmington Classic Tournament. The Seahawks hope to snap their 3-game losing streak on the road this week from Richmond, Ohio, and Purdue. Now let's go to those highlights.
Number 23, Greg Ponder delivers the ball to sophomore Freddie Jackson for an early 2-pointer. Some fast and repetitive ball movement by the Seahawks almost gets nabbed, but is saved just in time by big man Keith Rendelman. The Terriers make their comeback as sophomore Indiana faithful passes to Gerald Bird for a nearly blocked 2-pointer. The Seahawks shift the ball to the right flank as Jackson slips the ball into Rendelman, who easily bulldozes through the Terrier defense for another basket. The Terriers on the offense again, and despite some swift and sneaky maneuvers, get deflected by 3 Seahawk defenders. Freshman Luke Hager looks for an opening, but gives the ball to junior Tanner Milson for a decisively drained 3-pointer. Late in the game, the Seahawks plow through the Terrier formation to hammer the nail into the coffin.
The Seahawks achieved that much-needed win today after that tough road stretch this past week, thanks to a double-double from Cedric Williams and 16 points from big man Keith Rendelman. The Seahawks hope to close out the Wilmington Classic Tournament on Sunday the 25th at 2 p.m. with a victory as they face off against the Hampton Pirates. Until next time, this is Luke Gainey reporting for Seahawk Central Sports, TLTV. Back to you, Trey.
Thanks, Luke. After being blown out in the previous 3 games, the Seahawk defense bounced back in tremendous fashion, as the 37 points allowed by the Seahawks was the lowest total ever under the guidance of head coach Buzz Peterson. The men's basketball squad headed into the final game of the tournament with a full head of steam. The Hampton Pirates defeated Wofford earlier that week, so a win against the Pirates would give UNCW the outright championship. So let's head back over to Trask now, where our newest Seahawk Central Sports correspondent, David Sorensen, has the story.
After an opening win against the Wofford Terriers, UNCW looks to take the Wilmington portion of the Nations of Coaches Classic as the Hampton Pirates visit Trask Coliseum for the final game of the tournament. UNCW getting things started. Keith Rendelman with the baseline jumper to put the Seahawks on the board. However, the Hampton Pirates answered back with the 3 of their own. Jasper Williams from the corner. That's good. Here comes Milson in the front court. Great dish down low to Rendelman, who finishes strong at the rim. Another half-court set for the Seahawks. Nice long court pass. Milson for 3. Swishes the net. The Pirates setting up in their half-court set, driving the lane. Sad Williams throws a block party. Get that out of here. But right before half, the Pirates hit a big 3. Robert Mercado. UNCW from the corner. That's good. Chris Dixon with the 3. Milson bringing the ball up, a little pick and pop. Feeds to Rendelman, who finishes at the rim strong. Nice dunk there. UNCW finishing play up strong here with the 3 from the corner. Nice offensive rebound by Shane Rybold. Little and-one basketball. The Seahawks overcame early adversity and poor shooting to win the Wilmington Classic. Keith Rendelman had another double-double, 23 points, also grabbed 12 rebounds to lead the Seahawks to a 61-60 victory. I'm David Sorensen for Seahawk Central Sports. Teal TV, back to you, Trey.
Great work, Dave. After the game, Seahawk Central Sports caught up with Coach Peterson and listened to what he had to say about his team's performance.
I feel for Hampton. They fought hard, and in this crazy game, sometimes that ball just don't bounce right. And we were very fortunate to get this win. Shane Raybold did a tremendous job. His energy, his effort that he gave us there on the defensive end, his line doesn't show it at all, but his energy on the defensive end helped us a lot. They did a good job on Keith inside, putting 2 or 3 guys on him, and we just struggle sometimes hitting outside shots and, of course, hitting free throws. But very fortunate to get this win against Hampton, a very scrappy Hampton team.
UNCW kept up its winning ways on into the following week as the Lady Seahawks hosted the North Carolina Central Lady Eagles on Wednesday the 28th. Our very own Morgan Jones was on hand for the home opener, so let's return to the court and see how the game developed.
Hey guys, I'm here at Trask Coliseum tonight where your Lady Seahawks will be taking on the North Carolina Central University Eagles. After 3 consecutive away games, UNCW hopes to put a victory on the board, and head coach Adele Harris thinks that they can do just that by putting an emphasis on defensive aspects of the game, such as out-rebounding their opponent and boxing out. Let's see how the Seahawks fared. Seahawks utilized swinging the ball around the outside of the three-point line from wing to wing, where number 20 Jasmine Alston swished the 3. Here the ladies used the post players to draw on the defense and then immediately kicked the ball right back out to number 3 Montricia Perry for an easy jumper. Perry also successfully rebounded from the Eagles' missed shot, throwing a long pass for a fast break to play to Alston for the layup. Pass interceptions also seem to be a reoccurring theme. As you can see, the Seahawks swiping the ball away from NC Central's offense and passing it to Perry for another easy basket. Seahawks also did a great job seeing the open player, leading to many of Carnicia's goals. And here you see Jessica Freeman draining one of her 3-pointers. Look at that follow-through. As you can see, the Lady Seahawks did an excellent job tonight, earning their first victory of the season against the Eagles with a final score of 59-45. Standout player Carnicia Garrett earned her second double-double of the year with 18 rebounds and 11 points, respectively. Come out to Trask and support the Lady Seahawks on December 5th as they host their second home game of the season. Until next time, I'm Morgan Jones for Seahawks Central Sports, Teal TV. Back to you, Trey.
Great work, Morgan. If offense wins games and defense wins championships, then the Lady Seahawks must be the exception. Since the 2002-2003 season, UNCW is an astounding 53-0 when holding its opponents to less than 50 points. However, this was the first time that a Lady Seahawks squad had held an opponent to that margin since a 76-47 point victory at Towson University in the 2011 season. With that in mind, let's hope we see a few more of those defensive clinics in the near future. To cap off a solid home stretch and a near victory over the Thundering Herd of Marshall, UNCW snagged conference honors this past week as redshirt freshman Craig Ponder was named Rookie of the Week. Ponder blew away the competition with a 26-point game at Marshall and was 11 of 16 shooting from the field, even though UNCW fell to the Herd by a 61-58 margin. Ponder also collected 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals to pad his resume for the spotlight. Speaking of Seahawks in the spotlight, Seahawks Central Sports recently got a chance to sit down with a well-known hoop star and ask him a few questions to introduce a new segment to the show. So here, for the first time, is your Seahawks Central Sports Player Profile of the Week.
Hey, I'm Keith Rendelman from Iron Station, North Carolina, and I'm a power forward on UNCW. Growing up, I was a big Michael Jordan fan. Even though he was a little before my time, I got to watch plenty of games on him, but also I'm a big Kobe fan also. 2 good players, and Kobe's more of my time, so I'm a big fan of him. I'll probably just be on the beach all the time. We got good friends, that let us go out there and surf with them and, go riding on the boats all the time. So probably just going out and having team moments on the beach a lot over the summers. I'm a communication studies major, and probably one of my favorite classes is the interracial communications class I'm in right now with Deborah Brunson. It's just a very interesting class, and it's something that I can really relate to. And she's also a good teacher and putting it in ways that people can understand. So it's just been an interesting class for me. I actually have 2 games. It was my sophomore year when we was at Greensboro Coliseum, and we beat Wake Forest. One of the it was the ACC team and one of the biggest opponents we played. So that was also a good game. And then my junior year playing Delaware here, me and Higgins were 2 of the most talked about power forwards in the league, and we went at each other, and we came away with the victory that time. And I had like a good stat of like 23 and like 18 or something like that. So it was a big win for us, and I felt like that was one of my most memorable games here. I guess probably like every other basketball player is to keep playing. My coaches are going to help me out a lot and get me connections of where I need to go and stuff like that. So, I just want to continue playing as long as I can. Then after that, probably look into coaching after. And I just want to give a big shout out to all my coaches and teammates, and I want to encourage all the fans to come out Wednesday to watch us compete against Coker in our next game.
Remember, gang, our player profile questions are based off of the most popular questions from around the campus. So go to our Teal TV Facebook page as well as our Twitter account to post any questions for next episode's player profile. So another few weeks of Seahawks sports have come and gone, and you know what that means. It's time for us to recap UNCW's top plays. So let's head over to the highlight reel and pay a visit to Perry DeLuke for this week's edition of the Seahawks 7. Take it away, Perry.
Thanks, Trey. Welcome back, Seahawks, to another edition of the Seahawks 7, bringing you the top plays from these past couple of weeks in the UNCW sporting world. So let's take a look now at some of those highlights.
Starting things off, play number 7, number 20, Dana Brown with a pass to Giovanna Mendique. Mendique with a nice, easy bucket. Men's game against Hampton, number 30, goes up for the shot, and Cedric Williams with a big block. Play number 5, Seahawk Chris Dixon with some fancy footwork, and Keith Rendelman with a nice putback. Again, Dana Brown. Brown with a nice dish outside to Jessica Freeman, and Jessica Freeman with a three-pointer. Quick passing here, and Keith Rendelman goes up for the big dunk. Freeman, again from deep outside the three-point line. Freeman with another three-pointer. Play number 1, if you didn't see that, let's slow it down for you. Real quick. Cedric Williams with the assist from Luke Hager. Williams with an alley-oop. And folks, that is play number 1 for this Seahawks 7. All right, that does it for this segment of the Seahawks 7. I'm Perry DeLuke for Seahawks Central Sports. Teal TV wishing you a happy holidays. Back to you, Trey.
Great work, Perry. UNCW definitely put on a show for us this time. But big-time plays come from big-time players. And this week, we have the pleasure of hosting one of those big-time players in our very own studio. Tyree, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Tyree, you've had an extremely interesting collegiate basketball career. You started out at Texas Tech in the Big 12 playing under Coach Pat Knight. Then you transitioned to Brunswick Community College just outside of Wilmington. And then you played 2 years at Rutgers where you graduated. Now, let's take you back to the beginning, coming from Texas Tech to Brunswick Community College. What was that transition like from a big school to a smaller one?
Just every day in a sense of just practice and the intensity of everything that we used to do. From a standpoint of being in the Big 12, every day in practice was like a war. But when you go to the junior college level, it's a lot more easier and stuff like that. And players do not take it as personal on a day-by-day basis as people do in the Big 12.
All right, and that being said, you came from an incredibly competitive conference and even NCAA division. What as far as the role that you played on the team, was there a big adjustment that you made there?
Not necessarily. When I went to Texas Tech and then when I went to Brunswick, they just told me to play my game and be myself. That's what I was blessed with a talent to do things like that, to come into a team and help a team win and just be a leader. And that's something that I just installed in myself, and that's just something that's in me, that it just comes naturally. So. All right.
And again, at Brunswick Community College, not too far from our campus, what brought you back home after you graduated?
My mother, before she passed, my mother passed a year and a half ago. She told me that, if you always remember where you come from. So I felt like I wanted to come back to North Carolina and end this thing the right way.
All right. And when you talk about ending things, obviously you had a few rough patches in your career with an ACL injury, an Achilles injury, and that's 2 years out of your life. What was that drive to get you back?
I have friends. I have a lot of friends that play on high-level basketball and college basketball and the NBA, and they always told me that I motivated them to be better players, and at the same time, they motivated me to want to get back on the court and do what I love to do, because this game brings joy to my life. So.
We're glad to have you back, but. Recently you were granted another year of eligibility. What does that mean to you as a player, that another year?
It's a blessing. Like, I look at it as such a blessing. Like, a lot of guys go for this extra year, but they don't get it. And I feel like I got it. I mean, it only took 2 months for us to get it. Usually this take a year process. They have to go through so many different investigations and stuff like that. For them to give it to me after 2 months of investigating just shows the glory of God and the graces He has on my life.
It does. And, again, obviously, you can't keep playing college ball forever after you graduate from Wilmington. What are your plans then?
I want to play professional, but my long-term goal, I want to be a Division I basketball coach, because I always wanted to mentor kids and motivate kids to, aim higher than what they are expected to aim.
All right. Well, Tyree, that's certainly an admirable goal, and appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And good luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Well, guys and girls, that's all the time we have for this final episode of Seahawks Central Sports for the fall semester. I hope all of you tuning in have enjoyed this as much as I have, and we here at Seahawks Central Sports look forward to returning again in the spring. So until then, whether it's on the field, by the courts, or at the track, I'm Trey Owings, and I'll see you at the game. Happy holidays, everyone.